be screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to Cypherfics. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the fourth part of, What If Ichigo Enters Queen's Blade? Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of Takamagara 2012 on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Flashback. Lena, you like him don't you? Risty smirked at Lena as she gasped while sporting a heavy red blush on her face. And no, I don't like him like that. Lena cried. Besides, he and I are friends. Really, because ever since we left the capital, you've been blushing. Risty chuckled as Lena gasped from Risty's response. It's not because of that. Lena replied. I just blush easily. Risty laughed at Lena reply while she looked away pouting like a 5-year-old. Her smirk never ceased as she then placed her hand upon hers while staring at Ichigo serving the children his stew. She watched as Ichigo smiled at the young ones and chuckled at their responses. I think Ichigo's a great guy to have around. Risty said, which caught Lena's attention, and then turned to Ichigo while he finished serving them and sat with them to eat and conversate. I believe you'll get stronger with us around. Really? Lena asked. But what if I fail? Ichigo said to Alina the day we were in that cell that your path was already made, not by your family, Risty replied while patting Lena's head. Alina didn't believe it, but Ichigo knew you has the potential to succeed where others had failed. Wow, he believes in me so much. Lena thought until she felt Risty's face close to hers. If Ichigo believes you'll succeed, then I will believe in you as well. Risty said as she looked at her with a smile while her eyes were closed. Lena heeded her words and watched Ichigo hugging the children. Ichigo, she thought as she looked at him while blushing. Flashback ended. Lena lifted her head back up and looked at Claudette with a strong, determined look. Seeing a change in Lena even surprised Claudette a little. Claudette, I am not going back home with you. Lena snapped at her. Ichigo's right, you're forcing me into a role that I don't want to become. I refuse to go home where you, Alina and father don't give a damn about my feelings, my goals, or who I want to be. So I am done being a royal heiress. I rather be free and penniless with Risty and Ichigo, than being imprisoned at home with you, Alina and father. Claudette was surprised, despite her barely stunned look as Lena stood up to her like this. Angered, she drew her sword, thunderclap, and glared at her. How dare she? Claudette thought as she tightened her grip on her sword. She's supposed to be the next countess. Now she's standing up against us and our father. How is she? That traveler that aided the thief, that man was the one responsible for this act of rebellion Lena's showing. I won't accept this, not at all. You think this is for you, I'm doing this for the Vance family, our family. For such impudence, I'm gonna beat some sense into you for standing up to me and disgracing our family name like this. Claudette rebuked. As the Thundercloud General, Claudette shall formally challenge you to a duel, Lena Vance, successor of Count Vance. I will fight you, if this is my only chance to be free from you. Lena replied as she drew her blade out. Just as the two prepared themselves, Nanao then butted in, surprising them both. Hold on for a second. Now, the great Nanao takes charge. Nanao said to them as she then raised her right arm. I will officially bear witness, by the order of the gods. What's happening? Lena gasped as she and Claudette watched as they were caught in what seems to be a pink barrier that stretched out for a couple of yards. Meanwhile Ichigo was gathering the last of some fruits he found in the forest, mainly apples. After bringing his scroll out, he gathered them all together and put them on top. He then used his Ryatsu to seal the apples into the scroll. Alright, I got just enough apples to get us to another shopping district, he said to himself. He reached in his bag and then he noticed that he has Lena's prize money from the wrestling tournament. I forgot about this, Lena let me hold on to this for her. It's more than enough to get us a lot of food. Alright then, I better get on and catch up to line dash. Suddenly Ichigo immediately stopped what he was doing, only to see what's happening. A pink dome was made not too far from where he's at and an announcement was made to him and everyone else on the continent. In this corner, we have Claudette, the Thundercloud General, and on the other side we have the Wandering Warrior, Lena. Nanale announced. Oh, no. Lena's in trouble. Ichigo cried as he immediately used his flash step, leaping from tree to tree in breakneck speed. I knew that Angel was trouble. His hollow said. I know, but now's not the time to focus on her. Ichigo thought. If we don't make it back there in time, Lena will be the one in trouble. I know what you mean. His hollow added, which made Ichigo nod. She is indeed persistent. We must hurry, Ichigo. I won't let you take her, Claudette. He squinted his eyes as he moved even faster. Elsewhere Yoruichi, Shizuka, and Tomo were crossing the sandy desert of Amara, where they then stopped when they saw one of the floating spheres in the sky as it broadcasted Lena's fight with Claudette. I assume that sphere is used to broadcast these Queen's Blade fights, am I right? Yoruichi assumed. Right you are. Shizuka replied. The angels have the power to broadcast the fights for us fighters and others to view. She then turned to Tomo as she was watching the fight firsthand. The tall one is Claudette Vance, she's the Thundercloud General and a strong one. Whoever her opponent is, I highly doubt she'll last a second against her. Yoruichi looked deeply at Lena through the sphere and noticed something off about her. As she looked closely, she noticed a very faint hue of blue aura in her eyes. Is that her spirit energy trying to surface? She thought until her eyes widened in astonishment. If that is, then that means. Watch closely, Tomo. This here is what a Queen's Blade fight is. Shizuka said to her, which Tomo nodded in response. I shall memorize her movements for when we would face her. Tomo replied. I shouldn't underestimate her opponent, at least not yet. Yoruichi said with a calm smirk. What do you mean? Shizuka asked, which also got Tomo's attention. Just give it time. Soon she'll be strong enough to take her down. Yoruichi replied as she closed her eyes while smirking calmly, leaving the other girls confused. Elsewhere, Ichigo arrived to the area, only to see the barrier in front of him. He placed his hand on it and he felt that the barrier's solid. But then, he looked closely into the barrier to see Lena fighting. I made it just in time. Lena seems to be getting the upper hand, but Claudette, why is she holding back? Ichigo thought. Just then he spotted Nanale floating above them. At last it's finally here. Nanale squealed in excitement. If I'm not lucky to come across a Queen's Blade fight, all I have to do is set one up. Oh, I am smarter than the average angel. Oh, I knew it. So, this was your plan all along, huh, Nanale? Ichigo's voice reached Nanale's as it got her attention. Yep, you humans are so gullible, it's like taking candy from a baby. Nanale said as she made a smug snicker at Ichigo. Though what had happened was all real, my real plan was to stall you two until Claudette get here, and it finally worked. I see. Ichigo said while his eyes were covered by the bangs of his hair. We provided you shelter and warmth from the rain and you rewarded us with a setup. His crimson aura began enveloping him as he slowly drew his Zanpakuto out to the side. Nanale continued watching what Ichigo was about to do. He slowly looked up at the barrier as his red eyes glowed with the very spiritual pressure he possessed. It's time that I stop this fight, now erupt. Redanuva. Nanale watched in sheer astonishment as Ichigo's Zanpakuto transformed in front of her very eyes. turning from a normal katana to a crimson kyber blade with a red dragon marking deeply etched into the blade. Once his zanpakuto was revealed, a flaming red hue of an aura was radiating all around him. Ichigo then began his assault against the barrier. Strike after strike he continued, but the barrier didn't even make a scratch. DMN, nothing's working. Ichigo thought. Use your hollow mask again, but don't go Bankai. His hollow suggested as Ichigo replied with a quick nod. He immediately summoned his hollow mask and began charging his spiritual pressure as he resumed his assault against the same time. Claudette and Lena stopped for a second to see Ichigo on the other side of the barrier. Ichigo. Lena gasped. So there he is. Claudette thought, and then she turned the angel above him. I can't let the countdown in front of everyone. I have to end this. You foolishly believe that I am unaware of our father's love, and you foolishly believe that your traveling companions could make a difference. Don't be so naive. You're wrong about everything, and for that you shall suffer. Claudette channeled a portion of the sword's lighting powers and threw it towards her sister like a boomerang. It made contact with Lena as it made her skid a few feet away from her. Lena would have taken more damage if she didn't deflect it with her shield. DMN, she's strong. Lena thought as she squinted from the recoil action of Claudette's attack. Ichigo was surprised that her attack, when not holding back, grew stronger, almost to Ichigo's level. Not good. If this keeps up, Lena is bound to die. Ichigo's hollow thought as while Ichigo immediately continued striking the barrier until it made several cracks in it while he wrapped his flaming spirit energy around his blade to enhance his attacks more. Now, thunderclap strike. Claudette announced her next attack as her sword began charging for her next attack. Lena anticipated it and immediately ran to evade that quick lightning attack. As the bolt of lightning hits the ground, a cloud of smoke covered the area for a brief moment, enough for Claudette to charge in and clash her lightning-charged blade with her, sending her several feet towards the barrier's border. When the smoke cleared, Lena was mildly damaged and a piece of her breastplate armor was shattered. I won't let her hurt Lena. Ichigo growled as he managed to make a tree-sized gash in the then. Claudette unleashed a powerful lightning attack and successfully struck her, damaging her even more, armor and all. Ichigo was shocked to see Claudette made such a heartless move, and doing so triggered his boing point. Ichigo roared loudly, getting the nails and Claudette's attention as his eyes slitted when he dipped a sized amount of his spiritual pressure equal to Bankai level into his zanpakuto while it was enveloped in a fiery glow. Ichigo jumped into the air and slowly raised his zanpakuto until it's above his head, preparing for his signature attack. Sen. Sans Anzuyu. Ichigo unleashed a large condensed beam of flaming spiritual energy into the gash in the barrier, completely shattering the barrier completely and immediately disconnecting the broadcast all over the continent. But the fight didn't go empty-handed. Ichigo's spiritual pressure was sensed by Yoruchi from where she, Tomo and Shizuka were at. It looks like watching that turned out to be a waste of time. Shizuka sighed. It looks like those two knew what they were fighting for. Tomo said. I'm impressed at how much you learned in such a short time, Lady Tomo. Shizuka replied and then turned to Yoruchi. Whatcha think, Yoruchi? Hey Yoruchi, what's wrong? Shizuka was looking at Yoruchi, who was so stunned, it's like she just saw a ghost. Yoruchi gasped at how much power she felt from Ichigo from this far. Tomo looked at Yoruchi and grew concerned for her. Lady Yoruchi, what's wrong? Tomo asked. Ichigo. Yoruchi replied. I felt Ichigo's spiritual pressure, just from watching this. You think he's over where that battle's at? Shizuka asked. He is, but I fear for Ichigo in general. Yoruchi answered. Whenever he fights, he's like a dragon on the battlefield, but when he's in battle, his powers combined with the hollowification ability he has makes him a league of his own. Oh, my. Tomo gasped. I hope your friend will be alright. Yeah. I hope so, too. Yoruchi replied as he walked ahead, filled with shock and dismay. Back in the battlefield, Ichigo landed safely on the ground, deholified and with his zanpakuto back in his sheath. He immediately ran towards Lena, not before Nanale got in his way. "Hey, you can't get in here!" Nanale cried. "This area's for the fighters, for the Queen's blade only." Just then, without a word, Ichigo gripped Nanale by the collar of her dress. She struggled to let go but was stopped to see Ichigo's gritting his teeth in sheer anger. He pulled her towards her and smashed her head with his. "This was your fault," Ichigo said. "If you didn't set up this fight, Lena and I would have been gone before Claudette even got here. I thought you holy angels were supposed to help those in need of help, but I guess I was wrong. If I were you, I leave right now. You already seen me destroy this barrier, just imagine what would happen if I did it to you." Nanale gasped at the thought and grew scared at Ichigo's killer intent enveloping him like a fog. After letting her go, Ichigo was about to resume walking towards Lena, only to see the cliff Lena was at gave in, causing her to fall. Claudette managed to catch her just in time. "Lena, hold on!" Claudette cried. "Just let go and leave me alone," Lena said. "You'll die if you fall," Claudette replied. "If you have the slightest bit of love in your heart, you must let me go." Lena fought back. "Lena, you want to throw away your life, just like this?" Claudette asked. "Set me free, Claudette." Lena looked back at her with a caring smile. "Just know that I will always love you, big sister." Lena freed herself from Claudette's grip and fell down to the roaring waters below. Ichigo arrived too late. As he kneeled down in dismay, he looked down at the canyon Lena fell in as tears ran down his face. "Lena." He gritted his teeth and began sobbing loud and hard, unaware that Claudette got back up with her sword at hand. "This was your fault, traveler," Claudette said to him. "If Lena was at home with us, she wouldn't be in this mess and she wouldn't not have met that thief or you. You don't even know Lena as long as either me or my family do. Everything happened here was all your fault. Shut the hell up." Ichigo rebuked as he immediately punched Claudette hard towards the tree next to her horse. Before she could recover from her impact, Ichigo's left hand was clamped around her neck, pinning her against it. Claudette struggled to let go, but she, too, has stopped when she saw Ichigo looking up at her. His hollow mask was almost completely covering his face, only his right eye was shown and it was filled with sheer hatred against Claudette and the entire Vance family. "It was never my fault. It was yours and your entire goddamn family of yours," Ichigo continued. "You all kept on protecting Lena that she grew bored of the life you all gave her, trapping her inside like a bird in a cage with no way to escape. You said that I don't know her as long as you did. Maybe you were right, but I knew her just enough to see what she wants to do. She never wanted to be a countess or whatever you call it, all she wants to do is travel the world, getting stronger, just like your mother did. All she's doing is throwing her own life for the sake of some reckless adventure you rebels are walking on." Claudette cried out. "She wouldn't last a few more days out there. You just don't get it, don't you?" Ichigo sighed for a second. "That's just all you know. That's just how you and your family do." Ichigo snapped back at her, making her all wide-eyed at his response. "You kept Lena tight in your own home, keeping her from the outside world instead of having her see the world beyond those walls, like a bird trapped in its cage. Lena and I were right about one other thing. You're forcing her to take a role she don't even want to take. You, Alina, and your stubborn father don't even give a rat's but about her feelings. I will even bet that when your dad smiled, it wasn't even for you. I feel sorry for Lena to live with such a selfish family that cares about honor and not one's true goals, and what's funny, it was your own flesh and blood that saw this coming." Claudette was appalled at Ichigo's rant, shocked that every word he said was right. She looked down as tears began developing in her eyes. Is Ichigo right? She thought it over. Did his travels with her made him learn about us so much? Does father even care about me? I will spare you on the opinion that Lena might still be alive, that Lena still cares for you all regardless of her decision. Ichigo continued. But for now on, you better think about what I said and make a decision on what's right, your sister's decision, or your dad's so-called sympathy. Until you thought of your decision, don't ever come near us, otherwise I'll show you just how much I hate you. That includes your NCST's sister, Alina. Ichigo immediately let her go and watched her cry her eyes out. He then turned away towards the canyon and watched where it's leading to. That was pretty dark, what you said. Ichigo's hollow said. If Claudette didn't follow her and if that angel Nanale didn't set that fight up, she would have continued her journey with me. Ichigo replied while he de-hollowified himself. There's a chance, a small chance Lena is still alive, and if she is, then I'll find her. Anything to save a friend I love. Let's move, Hollow. We have a Shinigami in the making to save. Understood, Ichigo. Ichigo's Hollow ended his communication as he left the battlefield using flash step in the direction the sound of the water was going. Claudette remained crying while sitting against the tree until Ichigo's words immediately made her understand. Lena. I am sorry. Claudette said. Elsewhere back at Ichigo's timeline, Kisuke has been working around the clock to locate where Ichigo, and recently discovered Yoruchi were at. He grew so tired and worn out to the point he could pass out, but the only thing that's keeping him up is locating where the two Shinigamis are at. Just then, the alarm on the computer went off, which spooked the already tired candy shop owner. When he went to his computer, he saw that the computer has picked up Ichigo's spiritual energy. I finally found him, Kisuke cried, and then was replaced with a yawn. Now I have to contact Yamamoto and the others and then get ready for stage 2, right after I get some rest. Kisuke then fall asleep on the chair, which turned into an immediate bed when he fell back. He finally began sleeping peacefully now that Ichigo is found. During the fight between the two Vance sisters, Risty was at the Plainlands watching the fight happening. As it happened, she and the two other fighters then heard an overwhelming roar. It panned to Ichigo, who had his hollowification active as he unleashed a powerful attack that is at Bankai level. As the attack struck the barrier, effectively destroying it, she then saw a glimpse of Ichigo in his hollow mask, furiously enraged before the broadcast ended. Risty was surprised to see a side of Ichigo no one, not even his friends in the Soul Society, should neither see nor know. Ichigo. Lena. She thought as she began thinking about the two. She quickly got herself back together again and continued walking down the path. I know they will be alright. Lena's strong and so is Ichigo. I have faith that they will make it out in one piece. Elsewhere, Echidna was on the search for Lena. She began her search just moments after Lena had fallen and Claudette was on the receiving end of Ichigo's cold threat. She was on a piece of land on the side where she's so close to the water, she could literally dip her hand in it. At the same time, her snake K-Tan was searching for a small trail of Lena to start her investigation. Her efforts were of no avail as her pet Furathong couldn't find a trace of Lena. I shouldn't be so discouraged, the endowed wild elf said as a smirk was made on her sultry face. If Ichigo says she alive, then I'm sure he's right. Echidna chuckled and started to walk off, not before calling her pet. Come along, K-Tan. Echidna resumed her walk as she went down a clear path, while her snake slithered up her leg while she's moving and wrapped itself around her curvy waist and resumed its role as her reptilian underwear. While she walked onwards, she began thinking about Ichigo. For someone who likes flirting with some women for fun from time to time, Ichigo was the only guy that's Echidna's thinking about. Even if it's just a short thought, her feelings for Ichigo was steadily growing stronger. Even you're in my thoughts now, Ichigo. Echidna thought while she silently chuckled. You are quite an enigma that never ceases to impress me. If anyone that can save Lena, it's you. Impress me even more, Shinigami. Meanwhile, Claudette was down by the canyon's riverback for any traces of Lena. However, the current was too strong and any trace of evidence left behind would have been washed away with the current. She was still hurt from her recent, yet one-sided fight with Lena and the final words, before she fell. Set me free, Claudette. Just know I will always love you, big sister. And the very words Ichigo said to Claudette. You just don't get it, don't you? That's just all you know. That's just how you and your family do. You're forcing her to take a role she don't even want to take. You, Lena, and your stubborn father don't even give a rat's but about her feelings. I feel sorry for Lena to live with such a selfish family that cares about their honor and not their true goals, and what's funny, it was your own flesh and blood that saw this coming. Claudette continued looking at the roaring waters until one of her guards came to see her and to update her on the situation at hand. Claudette, the two vanished without a trace and the currents too strong to leave any evidence behind. One guard warned her. We should fall back for now and search elsewhere. Maybe, she had survived the fall and the traveler is looking for her. Claudette, after hearing what the guards had reported, she then remembered the other thing Ichigo said to her while she was in shock that time. I will spare you on the opinion that Lena might still be alive, that Lena still cares for you all regardless of her decision. But for now on, you better think about what I said and make a decision on what's right, your sister's decision, or your dad's so-called sympathy. Until you thought of your decision, don't ever come near us, otherwise I'll show you just how much I hate you. That includes your NCST's sister, Lena. Claudette didn't say another word as she turned around and walked away from the riverbank. Two other guards got her cloak and horse ready. As the Thundercloud General got her things and got on her steed, she turned around and prepared to leave, until the guards then asked her, Is something wrong, General? The Thundercloud General didn't move or turn to them. All she did was command her horse to move on and left the area, without answering her question. Elsewhere, Ichigo, who was leaping over boulders, trying to get a catch of Lena's spiritual pressure. He landed on large boulder in the center of the roaring current and looked high and low for the blonde warrior, but of no avail. Lena! Lena! Lena, where are you? Ichigo cried at the top of his lungs as he looked around for her frantically. Damn it, I can't find a trace of her spiritual pressure. Calm down, Ichigo. His hollow said as he and Ichigo are in his inner world now. You can't expect to find Lena if your head's not on right. Just calm down and relax for a second. Hollow, how can I calm down if what Claudette and Nanao did was inexcusable? Ichigo replied as he gripped his hollow by the collar. I won't forgive them. I won't forgive any of them for what they done. Hollow looked at the look on Ichigo's face, full of fierce and sheer anger, but at the same time, filled with grief for his new friend. Hollow sighed as he closed his eyes, and just as he was going to slap some sense into Ichigo, another presence immediately appeared. Another person wearing the traditional Shinigami's uniform, and the person wearing it has the same red hair Ichigo has, and the only difference. This presence has a curvy figure and an well-endowed chest. Before Ichigo could react to his surprise, a powerful bone-crushing punch struck Ichigo's stomach as it made him cringe, and just as Ichigo looked up, a swift roundhouse kick connected with his left temple, sending him flying through 3 buildings before crashing into the 4th one. Damn it! Ichigo muttered as he slowly lifted his head back up. Just then, he froze at the sight of the female visitor. Her eyes were filled with rage and they were aimed down at the Shinigami who's pinned down. Who the hell are you? She didn't say a word, gripped his collar and smashed his head against him. Ow! What the hell? Ichigo cried. I'm supposed to be this guy's female side? The red-haired female said while scowling and looking at Ichigo. Don't make me laugh. I've already seen what had happened and now look at you, reduced to a blubbering piece of CRP. What? He immediately freed himself and stood face to face with his mysterious guest. Just who the hell do you think you are, insulting me like this? I don't take kindly to insults from buxom-figured women like you. Just then he remembered her saying the words, female half. Wait, did you say female half? That's right. She smirked as she sat on the edge of the building inches from where Ichigo crashed at. You already know my name, after all you named me when you donned that medallion. No way. Ichigo's inner hollow said in astonishment. Psycha. Ichigo questioned her as he looked like he seen a ghost. You got it. She replied as she pulled him out of the hole in the building. Look, I can't blame you for having a grudge with the Vance family for ruining Lena's life. But going around, feeling angry and bitter about it doesn't solve problems. It only causes more problems with yourself. Ichigo looked down a little as he pondered over Psycha's words. He then thought about Lena as he remembered the time she wasn't feeling so happy during the night Nanao visited them. Psycha knew what he was thinking since she's literally a part of him. You're thinking about Lena and Risti, aren't you? She asked him, which surprised him. There's no need to ask or tell me, you and the two girls share a bond. She chuckled as she leaned in closer to Ichigo's left ear. In fact, I know you have a crush on them. Don't ya? Ichigo stammered over his words while blushing a shade that matches his hair color. Psycha knew the symptoms Ichigo has whenever he has a crush on a girl he likes, the shade of red that matches his crimson hair color, the way he stammers over his words, his heart beating so fast, and his inner shy side surfaced. Psycha laughed at the poor Shinigami blushing like crazy. I knew it. Psycha cried, but not to worry. You're going up to her and tell her how you feel. But how? He asked after he snapped out of his blushing episode. I can't find her spiritual pressure anywhere. Not to worry, she's in Amara. Psycha replied. Amara, what the heck is Amara? It's not a what, it's a place. Psycha replied. Wear the medallion and let me take it from here. She then turned to Ichigo's inner hollow, who was still stunned at what just happened. If that's alright with you, my male hollow half. Jigo right ahead. He replied with a cracked squeaky voice while trying to wrap his mind at what had just happened. Okay then. Ichigo nodded as he ended the communication and regained his consciousness. He took his medallion from his inside pocket and looked at it gleaming in the sunlight. He nodded as he took a deep breath when he put on the medallion, and just then, his body started glimmering, enveloping himself in a sky blue aura. He felt his body changing, becoming more feminine. As the blue aura then disperses into many particles, Ichigo's female self, Psycha, appeared in his place. Alright then, Ichigo, are you with me? Psycha asked. I'm here, Psycha. Ichigo replied telepathically. Good, here we go. Psycha then went into action as she immediately leaped over many boulders across the roaring waters like they're nothing to her. What can we expect? She's the female half of Ichigo. Through their inner world, Ichigo and his inner hollow were watching where Psycha is leading them. That then lead him to another question: how much Psycha knows about the continent and its history. Hey, Psycha. Ichigo projected his voice. How much you know, about the continent? I know more than enough. Psycha replied. The medallion and its magic, in other words, me, was forged here in this world. It was made here. Ichigo's hollow asked when he and Ichigo gasped. Do you know who made, well, you? Unfortunately, I can't remember the maker, Psycha replied sadly. My mind is still drawing a blank on who he or she is. All I know is that I am made to assist one with an unique spirit energy. Damn it, if only I could figure it out. Ichigo felt bad for Psycha, being his magical feminine persona, but couldn't remember her origins fully. His inner hollow placed his hand on his left shoulder in sympathy. As it got his attention, his hollow half nodded while wearing his calm smile on his face. While that happened, he remembered his life behind his. Because of that, Ichigo has obtained his answer. There's no need to force yourself, Psycha. Ichigo's projected words surprised Psycha. I know how you feel, finding that reason to the extent that you were moved from one world into another. You're just like me, someone who wandered the world finding the reason for existing. My name means wandering spirit, a ghost who wanders the world finding its purpose. It all changed when I met Seishin and Rukia, and then my purpose became clear. In other words, Psycha. You don't have to shoulder the pressure of finding your past all alone. I'm here, my hollow's here, my Shinigami friends, and even Lena and Risti are here. We'll be here to find your past together. Psycha was shocked, heeded her male half's response as she noticed how meaningful they are. Though they share the same body and some emotions, they don't share the same mind or past. But it all changed when she imagined a portion of Ichigo's past. She began to get emotional as tears ran down her face while a small but slowly growing warm smile. Psycha. Ichigo called her until her response was her making a warm hearty chuckle. Ichigo, Psycha called back, thank you. Though you haven't wore the medallion in a while and that we haven't fully bonded, I can feel that your words made me understand a little about you. I never knew you carried such a burden just like I do, and yet, you still keep a warm smile on your face. You're quite the enigma. I like that. Let's save Lena, together. Let's. Ichigo replied as he and his inner hollow both smirked and nodded at her response. Ichigo's inner hollow patted his Shinigami half on the head and chuckled at the man before him. Meanwhile, Aldra, who's in her throne room, watched Psycha as the gender-bent Shinigami flew over the river like a high-speed missile. While she glanced down at the projection, Delmore emerged out of her shadow, only his silhouette was shown, and what's piercing through was his menacing red eyes and gleaming smile. You have nothing to fear, my darling Aldra. Delmore said as he lowered down beside her. The young Vance girl has fallen, there's no way for that warrior to locate her now. I'm well aware of it, right now. Aldra replied to him without turning to the black shadow behind her. As she continues to stare at Psycha racing through the riverbank, something came to her mind. But what if that Vance girl survived? No, even if she survives, no one, not even her and that traveling warrior, won't stand a chance. Her left eye squinted and her right hand, balled into a fist, tightened as she turned away and walked towards her private quarters. Nothing. She reassured herself in her thoughts. An hour and a half later, in the sands of Amara, Tomo along with Shizuka and Yoruchi were traveling across the hot dry ocean, hoping they would step on anything other than being on sand. Grass, water, anything, other than being on sand. Sweat ran down their heads like they were caught in an instant but short rainstorm. Even Yoruchi took her orange overshirt off. Luckily she's wearing her black backless and sleeveless undershirt with the inverted butterfly symbol she kept from her fight with Suayafeng. If Ichigo was there, he would be blushing mad at the fan service Yoruchi's giving out. Man, as much as I love sand and beaches, this is way too much. Shizuka exclaimed, Grr. When will this sand trail end? I have to agree with this. Tomo replied while wiping the beads of sweat from her brows. It seems like we're getting nowhere while we're moving across this desert. And we're running low on water. Yeah, we need to find some shade. Yoruchi suggested while she looked around until she saw some ruins followed by a pair of pyramids not very far from them. How about those ruins over there? We could stay there for a bit and it's likely they might have some water there. Tomo and Shizuka both turned to Yoruchi's direction and saw the ruins as well. It looks aged and a little run down, but it's suitable. At least they finally found a place to cool off. Good eyes, Yoruchi. Shizuka said, let's head there, all this sun and sand is making me hallucinate and thirsty. Yoruchi and Tomo immediately followed Shizuka, who was a little ahead towards the ruins, but unaware of them, but the Flash goddess herself lies a presence in the ruins that lived for thousands of years. I sense some kind of power that lingering in those ruins. Yoruchi thought. We should take precautions while treading this part of the area. Speaking of presences in the ruins, in the main ceremonial room lies a princess. She was a well-toned young adult woman with black shoulder-length hair with blue eyes while carrying an Egyptian-themed motif. She wore a jeweled breastplate that covers her endowed bust midway, blue striped panties below an opaque cloth and a white cloth wrapped around her arms from behind, alongside the elegant golden headpiece with a cobra in the center of it. In her right hand was a scepter that's oddly cat-like, and the creepy thing was, it's smiling. Before her was an unconscious young blonde woman lying on the cold slab of stone, dressed in an Amaran-themed garment with her arms folded. She wore a bikini top with a pink veil built in it that did little to conceal to hide her stiffened tips, a silk leg-length loincloth connected to a thin gold string wrapped with a black silk cloth around her waist, and a black headband with large gold and red pendant. She was supposed to be dead, but it was a miracle that she was alive. The girl's name was Lena Vance. "Awaken now from your long slumber and be reborn in new flesh," the Amaran princess said, "then you be my most faithful servant." As she finished her announcement, she summoned a dozen dark spirits from within the pyramids, swarming all around her and Lena's unconscious body, and groaning eerily. In that small moment, those same dark spirits all flew into Lena's unconscious body in every direction. A violet glow radiated from her body until it stopped and settled a few seconds after. "Maybe I did something wrong when I did that enslavement spell," the princess pondered. "So what you think, milady?" The cat-like scepter began speaking and floating towards the unconscious blonde. It looked down at her and looked at her like a pervert wanting to have its way with her. "It's not every day we get a hot babe like this one. Tell me again, where did you get her, Cetra?" The young Amaran asked her scepter. "I found her by the riverbank, milady." The now-named scepter spoke. Though she was unconscious, her face was full of life and her body, it was to die for. "My tail got so hard just looking at her." Stop being such a pervert, Cetra." The young Amaran replied, until she sensed a familiar presence coming. A pink blob slithered up to where the Amaran princess is at and starts to take on a humanoid shape, with bunny ears. The princess turned to see the scantily clad slime girl before her. It was none other than Melona. "Just how much of you is tail, anyway?" Melona asked as she walked up the stairs slowly. She then turned her clover-shaped pupils to the Amaran princess, while keeping that smile of hers plastered to her face. "Hello there, Menace." Melona, hello." The now-named princess replied, until Cetra spoke bluntly. "Now what the hell do you want?" he asked bluntly. "Save it, you pervert." Melona snapped back. As she reached for the top, she noticed the same familiar face who once defeated her a few nights ago, back at Vance Castle. Her anger immediately triggered when she saw Lena's unconscious body on the slab of stone. It's that girl. The same whiny bitch who blew me apart that night. As Melona's hand was about to reach for Lena's neck, attempting to kill her, it was burned away by the aura of the dead spirits inhabiting her body. She gasped when she pulled her hand back and growled that she still couldn't kill her, though she's not showing it. She's relieved that Ichigo, or in this case Psycha, isn't around to save her yet. "I wouldn't do that if I were you," Menace warned her. "We're still in the middle of an enslavement ritual, it's powerful stuff. We wouldn't want you getting hurt," Cetra said as he laughed haughtily. "Menace, I don't need to remind you of the reason the swamp which resurrected you," Melona reminded with seriousness in her voice. From the way she said it, she means business. "We have a mission to complete." "I don't care about what the swamp witch wants," Menace boldly stated, "all I care about is restoring my kingdom to its former glory. That's my mission. Who cares about this rundown kingdom, it was perished thousands of years ago." Melona insulted her as she then starts to transform into the one thing that still haunts her to this very day. She turned into a well-endowed woman who wore a fishnet unitard with metal caps that covered her tips, an ornate belt with rings around it and a dark blue cloth with a light blue Amaran symbol on it. Her legs has blue and gold ankle bands and her arms has unmatching colored armbands with a creature going down on it. "Isn't this the woman who betrayed you?" Melona asked, irritating Menace to the point that she used her cloth that became as sharp as a blade was held up against the Protean's neck. "You take on that form again and your life will be forfeit." Menace threatened her with an angry glare in her blue eyes. Melona grew nervous at the princess's killer intent she's giving out. She chuckled as she returned to her normal state. "Ehehe. Okay, then I'm gonna go now. See ya." Melona said nervously while Menace watched her leave. "Milady, the time has finally come." Cetra cried, getting her attention. "Oh, thank goodness. Her BRTH is finally at hand." Menace cheered with glee as she turned to Lena, who was glowing in a violet but dark aura. "Greetings, my new servant, it's time to rise and serve your princess." The princess and her scepter watched as Lena slowly awakens when the violet aura then settled once again. As she opened her blue eyes, they possessed a faint red hypnotic ring on each of her pupils. She is caught in a trance with what seems to be no way to cure her. Deep in her subconscious, she was trapped in a cage enveloped by the same dark spirits Menace had summoned. She was wearing her mother's armor instead of the garment her physical body has on, and her sword and attachable shield. Her hands were gripping against the dark bars, struggling to break free, but nothing happened. Lena continued trying for what seems like minutes, until she stopped and gave up. She sat in the center of the cage with her arms and legs close to her chest. She sighed as she buried her face into her lap. Streams of tears ran down her face, feeling the repetitive pain of being trapped in a cage, just like she was trapped in her home, being watched over by her two sisters and her heartless father. "It's over. I can't do it," Lena muttered. I'm just too weak. I can never be as strong as my own mother. I can't even look at Ichigo or Risti in the face for what had happened." Lena sobbed quietly in her lap with her hands tightly wrapped around her legs. "I'm sorry, Ichigo. I'm sorry, Risti. I have let you two down." Lena's thoughts reached out to Ichigo and Psycha, who arrived to Amara. The three all sensed Lena's faint spiritual pressure. They gasped when they also felt Lena's loneliness mixed with her Ryatsu. "Oh, no. Lena!" Ichigo cried. "She's alive but in trouble." "Yeah, I can feel it too," Psycha replied. "Let's see how we can find her." Psycha knelt down on the sand and placed her right hand on the surface. "What are you planning on doing, Psycha?" Ichigo's inner hollow asked. "I'm gonna find her by tracing her spiritual pressure through the sand," Psycha replied, which surprised her female half and his hollow persona, leaving them dumbfounded. "What, you didn't know that we can do something like this? PSSH, and we share the same body." Ichigo's inner hollow turned to his Shinigami half with a scowl and slapped him upside his head. "Ow! What was that for?" Ichigo cried out. "For not knowing you can do that," Ichigo's inner hollow replied. "God dang it, hollow. Now is not the time for this," Ichigo rebuked when he slapped him on the head. "Psycha, summon Retinova and use Hano Koran." "Okay, then." Psycha immediately summoned their Zanpakuto's Shurkai shortly after finding Lena's Ryatsu and used Hano Koran to make a duplicate of her. The duplicate then removed the medallion, returning to normal. "Come on, follow me," Ichigo cried as he immediately made a mad dash towards the pyramids up ahead, with Psycha following him. At the same time, Yoruchi then sensed a presence nearby and coming fast. She stopped what she, Shizuka and Tomo were doing and immediately tries to look around to locate the presence. "Yoruchi, what's up?" Shizuka wondered as it also got Tomo's attention. "Shizuka, be ready, someone's coming," Tomo said as she readied her sword and Shizuka with her kodachi in hand. As the three women all awaited what's about to happen, Yoruchi immediately sensed where it's coming from. She turned around and saw a cloud trail of sand heading her way. She held out her hands with her palms pointed out, waited 3 seconds and prepared her spell. "Now, Beikado number 81. Thank you," Yoruchi cried as a large clear rectangular wall erupted from the ground, in front of them. The only sounds that they were able to hear were 2 thuds against the glass barrier and some groans. "Ah, geez. Who in their right mind would put a strong glass window in our way?" Ichigo cried as he held his nose and left cheek in minor pain. "Wait, this isn't a window, it's Kido." That voice. "Ichigo, is that you?" He looked up as he saw the barrier fade and then saw the familiar tan-skinned woman that Ichigo calls a goddess. No way. Yoruchi. Ichigo cried, which made her run to him with a smile on her face and hugged him tightly. How did you get here? The same way you did, only I got here nearly a day ago. Yoruchi replied. Along here, I came across 2 other people I would like for you to meet. She turned to the priestess and her ninja comrade, gesturing them to come towards her. Ichigo, this is Tomo, she's a priestess from the land of Hinamoto, and with her is Shizuka, a defected member of the, now extinct, Kuma ninjas. Hinamoto. Ichigo pondered until he remembered that name. Wait, I heard that name mentioned before. A cloaked person had saved them that night. You were there. Hee, guilty as charged. Yoruchi replied with a chuckle while she raised her hands in a I don't know gesture. So you're the man Yoruchi mentioned. Shizuka said while looking at his appearance and then smirked. For a Shinigami, you're pretty cute. Same goes for a hot ninja girl, like you. Ichigo replied with a calm smile which made Shizuka chuckle and blush. He then turned to Tomo and calmly bowed. It's a pleasure to meet your acquaintance, Lady Tomo. You are quite a well-mannered man. Tomo replied with a bow. The pleasure is mine, Samyu-san. What are you doing here of all places? I was following a Ryatsu trail, leading to the pyramids you're heading to. Ichigo replied. I was looking for Lena, I know she's still alive. Lena? Shizuka wondered. Never heard of her. What does she looks like? Tomo asked. Well, she a blonde-haired woman with 2 braided pigtails adorned in a breastplate type of armor. Ichigo described her. Wait, you mean that blonde girl we watched not very long ago? Yoruchi asked, which Tomo and Shizuka both remembered. I remember now. Shizuka gasped. She was the one who got beat by Claudette. I remember as well. Tomo added. You think she's in trouble? Yeah, my partner and I found her spirit energy here. Ichigo replied. Partner, you mean your inner hollow? Yoruchi asked. No, I mean her. Ichigo looked behind him with the girls all looking up to see his feminine doppelganger rubbing her head. When Psycha looked up at Ichigo and the others, only Yoruchi was very surprised to see the physical similarity between the 2 red-haired Shinigamis, even though one is a female. Ichigo. Who's that? Yoruchi wondered while she cocked an eyebrow at him. How should I explain this in shorter but easier terms? Ichigo pondered while Yoruchi, Tomo, and Shizuka all stared down at them. Well, she's me. What? Yoruchi cried out in shock. How can you have a female body? You're a man. Ah, geez. Psycha, can you tell them for me? Ichigo asked while he sighed. She nodded and took a step forward. My name is Psycha Samyu, and yes. I am Ichigo's female half. Psycha explained as she showed them the medallion. He turns into me whenever he wears the medallion. In this world, I carry a lot of knowledge about this world and about the Queen's Blade. The only thing I can't remember was the person who made the medallion and me, the magical soul of the medallion. Okay, I get it now. Yoruchi nodded as she started to get the idea of what's been happening and how Ichigo got here. The Flash Goddess then ran to hug Ichigo once more, happy that he's alright. I'm glad you're safe. Rukia and the others thought you died, but only Seishin knew you were safe. That's good to know. Ichigo happily replied, but was quickly replaced with a concerned frown. Still, I need help getting to Lena. Will you, Tomo and Shizuka, all help me find her? Samyu-san, there's no need to ask. Tomo answered as she approached him. I'll be happy to assist you with rescuing your friend. Count me in, good looking. Shizuka joined in as she hugged Ichigo face into her endowed cleavage, causing him to blush. Yoruchi and Psycha giggled. Psycha, I'll be happy to help you and Ichigo with finding Lena. Yoruchi said to her. It means a lot to us. Thanks, Yoruchi. Psycha smiled back at her. Alright, let's go exploring the pyramids of Amara. Ichigo said as he managed to free himself from Shizuka's hug and began leading the way with Psycha and the others behind him. As they began their trek to the pyramids, Menace on the other hand was doing something she didn't have for such a long time, getting a luxurious oil massage. She laid on the stair-shaped slab while Lena, who's under her control, did the massaging. She smiled and at the pleasure of the feel of oiled hands rubbed all over her body. Ah, yes. That's the spot. Menace sighed in pleasure at the feel of Lena's hands rubbing against her inner thighs. I'm sure it is, milady. Cetra said as he floated around her. But aren't you forgetting something important? My first oil massage in over 1,000 years is pretty compelling. Menace replied. Lady's got a point, at least I try, huh? Cetra immediately stopped what he was saying as he picked up a presence. What is it now, Cetra? Menace asked. It seems we have some approaching visitors, about 5 of them in total. Cetra answered as he projected them through their magical waterfall. Menace stopped what she's enjoying to see who's approaching. They all have such strange clothes. Menace said while turning her sights to Ichigo and Psycha. However, that those red-haired twins do look rather attractive. This one seems to be the sweet and tiny type. Cetra made a perverted smirk while ogling at Tomo. She can't hide that from me, there's a body waiting to be freed from all that red cloth. He then turned his sights to Shizuka, this one here like showing off that alabasta skin. Oh, I would love to alabasta her. But that red-haired one and the tan-skinned one, I really like. They really enjoys going all out with no holds barred. Oh, I would love to go all out on them. Stop being such a perv, Cetra. Menace scolded her scepter. I need to know if they make good servants or not. Especially that red-haired male, he's really something. She calmly smirked while gazing at him and his features. Why yeah, I knew that. Cetra replied with a nervous chuckle. Well, let's give them a little test to see if they are good. Menace said as she used her powers to test the visitors. Meanwhile Ichigo and the others walked towards the entrance to the ruins. Shizuka, Tomo, and Yoruchi finished drinking one of the canteens of water Ichigo had given. We're glad you came prepared, Samyu-san. Tomo said as she closed the cap of her canteen. Yeah, we were out of water for a while until now. Thanks again. Shizuka joined in. Please, call me Ichigo. Ichigo replied. I'm happy to help you two out that I still have some more canteens saved up, so if you need more, feel free to ask. You're quite the handy duo, Ichigo and Psycha. Yoruchi complimented them which made them chuckle. Just then they all stopped when they sensed a dark power approaching them. I have a bad feeling about this. Psycha said as dark clouds started to form around them and a strong wind followed a second after. Shizuka was caught in the sudden sandstorm. Oh, no. Shizuka. Ichigo cried. Psycha, you and Yoruchi go save Shizuka, I'll stay with Tomo. They nodded as Yoruchi and Psycha went for Shizuka. Just then, Ichigo and Tomo both sensed a dark but familiar presence behind them. They turned to see none other than Lena wearing her armor. Tomo, up there. Ichigo cried as she saw the blonde swordswoman standing on top of the ruins. Lena. He cried. Ichigo, wait. Tomo warned him. That may be Lena, but something's off with her. Kneel before the power of Amara, travelers. Lena said while looking down at Tomo and Ichigo. Still I have to save her, Tomo. Ichigo cried again. Lena, I've came to rescue you. Lena was still sitting in the middle of the cage, moping and losing all forms of hope. As she sighed while looking down at her lap, a faint but familiar voice was reached out to her. Lena. The voice cried out as it gradually grew louder with each cry. Can you hear me? Lena. That voice. It's Ichigo. Lena wondered as she sat up and went to the side of the cage where the voice is coming from. Lena. You have to fight it. I know you can hear my voice. Ichigo cried. I can't believe it, Ichigo's here to save me. Lena thought. He still care for me, after all. Ichigo, help me please. Lena's voice cried out as best she can, but her voice alone couldn't reach to him, but she couldn't give up. Ichigo. She screamed as loud as she can. Lena's mind-controlled body began resisting its actions as Lena's consciousness tries to regain control. Ichigo and Tomo watched as Lena tries to fight for control over her body. From the throne room, Menace sensed a distortion in the enslavement spell she casted and watched as Lena struggles for control. So she's defying my orders, huh? No one defies me. Menace said as she prepares to use her spell again, until she and Cetra saw an abnormal power inside Lena fighting to help her regain control. What's this power trying to fight for control over her body? Cetra wondered. Not sure, it's pretty strong. Menace replied until a knowing smirk was worn on her face. Interesting, I never knew she has a very strong aura in her, let's use it to our advantage and see how strong she is. By the powers of Amara, I command you. A dark aura enveloped Menace as she casts her spell to boost her control over Lena. Not a moment later, the aura enveloped Lena once more as she starts losing control of her body once more. Lena was fighting a losing battle and her chances of making it out on top was slim to none. She needs a miracle to reclaim her body and break Menace's spell. When Menace finally took control of Lena's body, the red rings in her eyes began to glow a light red. She stopped resisting and looked back down at Ichigo and Tomo with a eerie but neutral look. Kneel before the power of Amara if you wish to live. Lena said as she drew her sword out. What? Ichigo cried. What are you talking about? You need to snap out of it, now. Ichigo, look. Tomo warned him as he looked at Lena closely and he noticed that something's wrong right off the bat. She was enveloped in the dark aura resulted from the enslavement ritual Menace had done, the same dark aura that cast the dark clouds. Lena. You need to snap out of this. Ichigo cried out. This isn't you. Someone's controlling you and you need to fight back. You will kneel before the power of Amara or you will die. Lena said as she jumped and dived towards Tomo and Ichigo with her sword firmly grasped in her right hand. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 5. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author Takamagara 2012 on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video, till then goodbye.